And of course we have our old friend Ferreira. I think most of you know him. Ferreira has been in the audience like you, has been backstage, has been on stage, and has been a director, and he has been judging, and once again he has done this time as well. And incidentally, he is the one who chose the excerpts this year. So if there are any complaints, you can complain for it. He has not been a winner, although he had got an award for the best actor. He has not had the good fortune of representing the winning school. But notwithstanding all that, he has taken a passion for drama and theatre because of Shakespeare. And if not for Shakespeare, perhaps he would not have been here. So that's another achievement which the Shakespeare drama has done. We know most of the young directors who have come up recently have participated in this event. So let me once again thank each one of you, and may God bless all of you in your future endeavors. Thank you. I shall invite Ferreira to make his comments, and thereafter Sabrina and Asoka also will make some short comments. But please listen to these comments very carefully, because it will come in handy for all of you, whether you all participate in the finals or not. I need to thank Akri. Sorry, I missed you. Thank you very much, Akri. I think we need to give him a applause. Akri told me this afternoon that someone has told him that he was not very popular. So I told him not to worry, that he was not worried. If he is unpopular, means that he is doing a very good job. So we need him very badly. And in the years to come, you will be around with us. He has requested me to inform each one of you, when the results are announced, make sure that you don't jump on the chairs. Right? It's very important. I can't see the CEO of Lionel today here. But if there's a problem, we're going to have a lot of problems in the future as well. So make sure that you look after the chairs. Okay? And one more thing, remember the rehearsals for the boys will be on Tuesday. That is the 15th September at the Bishop's College Auditorium, commencing at 9 AM. So now when we announce the names of the schools, the finalists, ensure that one representative from each school come over here to the stage, because you all will have to do a draw to determine what slot you will be getting for the rehearsals. Okay, once again thank you, and over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, thanks to Dulip and the YMCA and Rotary Club for organizing this. I think they deserve a big round of applause. Right, so I will make a few general comments, and then Sabrina and Asoka will also make a few comments. Firstly, we had a marathon day today, and I know we ran a little bit behind schedule, so we are really sorry for that. At certain points, I think we walked out and we had to sort of clear our minds. So I apologize for the delay, but you have to understand that when we are watching so many plays, we have to be fair by everybody, and we really needed to clear our minds and watch the next plays to be fair by everybody, the ones who performed yesterday, the ones who performed in the morning, and the ones who performed later on. So, firstly, please understand that as judges, one of the biggest friends that you have is anonymity. And that anonymity comes from the fact that you are all identified by school numbers. We make the decision based on school numbers, and we find out the school only after we have signed off on the sheet. So after we have signed off on the sheet, there is nothing we can do to change it. Now the YMCA takes great pains, and I was mentioning it to the judges, saying from the entire auditorium, in fact from everybody who's here at the lineup in today, only the three of us don't know what the school is. Right? And that's your friend. Okay? So why would you all take away that friend by identifying your schools by people wearing school t-shirts and walking around on stage before the play? That makes no sense to me. Okay? Don't do it. Those days, everyone used to cheer the name of the school. Then we told you all not to do it, and you all stopped. Right? So I'm making a request from you all. Don't do it because it doesn't give you all any additional points. In fact, we look at it as a sort of an attempt to influence us, and we don't like it much. So I know you all love to wear your t-shirts and all that stuff. Do it. I mean, wear your t-shirts afterwards, that's fine. But before the play, right, if you have to come on stage to set up props or sets or whatever, be conscious to wear black t-shirts. I think that's the norm for backstage too, right? Black t-shirts, black this thing, so that you don't bounce light off. Right? Just wear something black, but don't wear anything that your school can be identified. Right? That's not fair on us or on your school, because you're actually not doing your school a great big favor. The other one, and I do have a few points, and I'm going to be repeating myself from yesterday, so those of you who were here yesterday, pardon the repetition. I think last year and many years before that, directors had two tasks. One, they had to direct the play, and then they had to edit a script very cleverly. Okay? And last year we had this task. Some schools got knocked out, not because their acting was bad, but because we necessarily didn't agree with the edit of the script. Now this year, you all didn't have that. No school was penalized for the editing of the script. No school was penalized saying, oh, that was a bad scene to choose, because we chose it. Right? So that meant that the director's job we actually took off maybe about 40% of your jobs. What we would like you all to do is put that 40% back into actually understanding and comprehending the text, and then passing on that comprehension to your actors so that they can pass it on to the audience. That, believe me, is the strongest weapon that you can have on stage. There is, in fact, the schools that went in today had all one thing in common. They understood what they were saying. They made us understand what was going on. Right? Yesterday, it was the same story. Right? I know there were things people asked, oh, there was not much action in that play, or this or that. Right? That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to see, do you understand what Shakespeare wrote? And are you able to convey that story? Every one of the excerpts has a story. Are you able to convey that to us? And the schools that are going in today were able to do that the best. I know I say this all the time, right? And this is an issue with the lights. Okay? Guys, actors, you have to step into the light. I know, because I've directed plays here. I've directed for Shakespeare, I've acted for Shakespeare. I know you guys don't have rehearsal here. And I know some of you don't know what this stage is like. We make allowances for that. Okay? What I find disturbing is that you all keep actors in dim lights. Err on the side of brighter lights. Okay? We will make allowances for the fact that you didn't have a rehearsal at this theatre before you came on. Right? What you shouldn't do is leave an actor in darkness whilst having lights at your disposal. Bring up the lights, we will forgive you that, right? Because it's far better for you to have a little bit more light on stage rather than to leave an actor in darkness, right? Because we can't see facial expressions. And the actor, we know from what we hear, we know he's probably doing a really great job, but we can't see the facial expressions. Or we can see everything except his face. Because actors have to step into the light, right? There's no point the light shining on your body, you have to shine on your face as well. The other thing is, be very careful when you use overhead lights. Those actually cast a huge shadow on your face, right? if you really want to light up an actor properly, right, the CS is probably your best option. So just remember that. And another small note for those of you who played the comedies, you have to train your actors to wait for the laughs. Now I know this is a very, very difficult thing because you don't know when audiences are going to laugh or whatnot. And believe me, even the most seasoned comic actors make that error. But it's something that you need to pass on because far too often people were saying lines when there was obvious laughter in the audience. The other thing I need to tell you all about is pace. See, I know before this year, you all chose your own excerpt and then you all had to finish in 30 minutes because beyond 30 minutes you all got penalized and stuff like that. We give you the excerpt, so therefore if you take the excerpt start to finish, if you take 35 minutes, there's no penalty. Right? There's absolutely no penalty because you're doing the excerpt we gave. So in that context, there is no necessity for you to go at 100 kilometers an hour from start to finish. Right? You all need to pay a little bit more concern about the pace in which you're running the play, and that necessarily is, I think, something that falls on the directors. Right? It's not just about starting and finishing in 30 minutes, it's a given excerpt, so you all can take a little bit longer if you all have to. Right? But make sure that the pace is right. And when I say the pace is right, I don't mean go at full tilt all the time. Right? The other thing was, when you're using comic devices, you all have to, in essence, be true to the play. You all can do a lot of things that are funny, that the audiences will laugh at. But we as judges will necessarily look to see, does that really fit the context of the play? Even if it is funny and even if the rest of the audience is rolling in the eyes, I'm sorry, but we as judges have to look at it from that objective point of view. Phrasing. A lot of the schools, I felt, did not pay enough attention to the phrasing. This has to do, I said this yesterday as well, remember Shakespeare is blank verse, it's poetry that's supposed to be spoken as prose. But you have to make sure that the phrasing is right. And by phrasing, I mean, there's a thought process, you have to finish that thought process, take your pause, and then move on. Right? Far too often, we found people stopping in the middle of the thought process, not completing that particular phrase. And that was a little bit distracting. We also had, unusually, a lot of people were doing what I call headlining. And I know that's a new term, but headlining is when actors speak every single line as a headline, right? And it can get very tiring because we don't really know, because in any speech, there is a very, very important part of the speech that you would want the audience to know. This is important, this is very important, this is slightly less important. So, when you headline every single one of your lines, it's very difficult for us to figure out what you're trying to say. And two more. One I said yesterday, and the other one, guys, when it comes to direction, interpretation, characterization, we can have differences of opinion. Okay? That's fine. This is theatre. But there's one thing that we cannot have differences of opinion, and that is learning your script. If you don't know your script, right, you will not get into the finals. We will cut you down and we will marking down people who did not bother to learn the script. Okay? That's the basic thing that you can do. If you're getting on this stage, learn your lines. How you deliver your lines, how we perceive it, whether we mark you down, mark you up, whether we agree with your characters or interpretation, that's different. And that's all a matter of opinion. Right? But if actors don't know their lines, I'm sorry. Right? That is kind of unpardonable. Right? So let that not happen again. And the other one is the one I said yesterday. All and all. Two different things. Okay? You have to get it right. And the directors have to start doing those basics with the actors. Do your speech exercises, right? Everybody knows the speech exercises. Don't let the actors get lazy, right? Before you start rehearsals, make sure that you've done your speech exercises and they've actually learned the differences of those words so that they can pronounce the words properly. It's very disheartening when actors are acting really well and then they say all when they meant all. Okay, I'll just hand you over to Sabrina. She has a few points to make. And remember, after we give out the results, we are available outside. You can come and talk to me. Right? I would really appreciate it if I don't get calls at 11 o'clock in the night like I did last night, asking why did we do this, why did we do that, because I had put away my files and I was just about to go to sleep. Okay? But I patiently answered that phone call too. Okay? But I'll gladly stay until 11 o'clock. Right? But once I get home, right, I would prefer not to get a phone call. Okay? So we'll be outside there, so will Sabrina and Asoka, and you can talk to us and you can discuss with us what we found right and wrong with your play, right? And tips for those who made it to the finals. Okay, so we'll be outside there, and again, remember the chairs are really important. The Wendt, don't mess with them. So Sabrina, thank you.
Take too long. It's been a pleasure here, and I want to thank the organizers for having us and having me. Thank you. But I just want to correct Dulip on one note. She said the boys beat the girls. I beg to differ. Feroz has already given me some sound advice, but I just want to make 2 points that I think are important. I'd like to talk about the process, just to mention the fact that the final production of what you present today, or maybe at the finals, I believe and hope comes as a part of a process. And when I say process, what I mean is the conceptualization, right? So you're given this good positive challenge of 2 scenes, 2 extracts. So when you get it, you just take your scripts and start acting, or do you sit down and try to conceptualize your analysis, your approach? What is our line of thought? How does this work with the overarching themes of the play? And that will help you come up with a nuanced analysis. And I think that's very important, because within that half an hour, you have to give like some, groundbreaking performance. And that comes, I think, with a lot of brainstorming, with a lot of analysis, with a very nuanced argument that I think some of you managed to capture. And this, I think, leads me to my second point. Again, I said very briefly, I think he touched on it, Feroz touched on it again, is the contextualization, right? So if you see it as part of the larger play, then you will pay specific attention to the context. You are only presenting 2 scenes or a scene, but still it works or weaves into a larger play. So you can't have character portrayals that contradict what the larger play says, right? So that is another thing you have to keep in mind. Don't look at anything in isolation, basically. Look at it as part of a larger context, right? And that is for the scenes and the play as a whole. So like he said, some of you transported into a different context. But then what are the aspects of that context? Is it just about costume and props? No, it's so much more. What is the socio-political structure? What is the context you're uprooting it from and placing it in? So you need to take it, like I said, not in isolation, right? And that helps you also to look at your character in relation to others. How do I respond to, for example, how does Petruchio respond to Kate? How would Petruchio respond to somebody else? Right? So it helps you develop depth in your character, because no character is one-dimensional, right? All characters are complex. It helps you to bring in that complexity when you don't look at it in isolation, but look at it in the context, right? So that's the thought I want you to leave with, because in that half an hour, you need to see how you're going to present all of this, and mainly how you're placing it in a particular context, bringing the larger picture and reflecting it through your performance. But as a whole, well done, and thank you for your attempts and for some of the performance that really dramatic stuff, and all the best.
Thank you very much for inviting us in. Yeah, just a few points. Having this theatre very often from very small ages, but today there were moments of pin drop silence. It was remarkable. There was theatre here, and we were transported to those places, and we were with the emotions of the people acting the roles. So that doesn't come overnight. There's a lot of rehearsing going on, and also being in the character. And that was missing very often. I think everybody was complaining a lot. One small thing, sometimes when the main characters are not performing well, our eyes are roaming around and watching the other characters, the servants, everybody. And if you don't sweep at home, don't use a broom on the stage, because you can see that you're not used to using either. I mean, and don't think that we have come here to watch some kind of running around. Because we have seen this running around yesterday and today. Today was a lot of running around, jumping on tables and jumping down. And you are all creative. You can invent new things. I mean, running, can have bicycles here, we can have skateboards here, you can do anything. But in the context, that's the thing. And don't mix up everything. Because if there's a cap in the text, don't bring a straw hat there. We are not fools, and we hate that. You know, that things are not followed, Shakespeare is not taken seriously, and we are taken for a ride. You can write anything here, but do it according to Shakespeare. And thank you very much for the parents and everybody who has put up with all these rehearsal times, and the teachers also. I know what it means to put up even a small piece. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Okay, it's back. Because Asoka said good night, I think the sound operator thought that we were wrapped up for the day. Right. So, I gave you the pointers, but what I didn't tell you all before that was today was an absolutely fabulous day for Shakespeare. Right. The competition was really, really intense. So. I'll be honest with you, as judges, what we would like is 4 clear people to go into the finals and the others not so. But unfortunately, you all didn't make life easy for us because there were plenty of deliberations, and I think for the first time, me judging, I had real issues with who was going to go in, and up until the end, I don't think we knew exactly who was going to make it. And there were, in other years, there are maybe 6 or 7 schools, but here I think there were 9 or 10 schools that had a genuine shot at going to the finals. So, well done, guys. Right? Really, really good job. So, we'll start off with the best novices boys school, and the award goes to St. Thomas's Preparatory College. And the award for Best Stagecraft goes to B5, St. Thomas's College, Mount Ferreira. Okay, I'm going to read out the nominees for the Best Supporting Actor. If you all want to hear who got into the finals, can you all let me read out all the nominees and then clap once? Can we do that? Because otherwise it's going to take a long time. There are 7 nominees for Best Supporting Actor, right? Okay, so the nominees are from B3, Falstaff, B4, Regan, B4, Goneril, B5, Clown, B19, Fool, B6, Romeo, and B8, Marcus. And the Best Supporting Actor is awarded jointly to 2 actors. The Regan from B4, Joshua Ferreira from B4, and the Fool from B19. Okay. Can we follow the same theory for best actor? You all will hear the finalists faster. Okay? Thank you. So we have 6 nominees for the best actor award. And they are Lear from B4, Titus from B8, Petruchio from B12, Lear from B19, Cleopatra from B14, Petruchio from B18. And the winner of the Best Actor Award, it was a very tight call. The winner is Lear from B19. And these are the schools that have been selected for the finals. As I said, there were at least 10 schools in the running. So the 4 who have made it because they, to us, represented the best of this competition. This is in no particular order. This is actually in order of your performance. And the YMCA would request that a representative from the school come up for the draw for the finals. So this is in order of the performance. The first school in the finals is B4, St. Joseph's College. The second school in the finals is B8, St. The third school is B14, Lower. And the last school in the finals is B19. Yes.